Crunch gets Superior low, then we're going to line him up, bop, down goes Superior, back out, comes Gator, bop, one more bop, and we take that game. Welcome back to the channel, or should I say welcome to the madhouse. This video is less than 25 minutes long, and we've got not one, not two, not three, we have 4 sets of battles. There are going to be Pokemon getting knocked out left, right, and centre. As you can tell from my voice, I am still quite ill, but the show must go on, especially when you get mail from the one and only xboston. Someone I like to call my favourite battle in the world. He's also a good friend of mine and one of my Discord moderators. He said, I went on a crazy 11-game win streak running some triple shadow madness, so of course I have to shoutcast the battles. Unfortunately, Great League is coming to an end. The leagues are about to rotate, so YouTube's about to be littered with practice battles with all the other content creators trying to be first. That's not what I'm about. I'm going to shoutcast some real battles. So if you appreciate that and you are actually watching this video, do me a huge favour and smash that like button. As my voice is already struggling, we're going to keep the intro short and sweet. Without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game 1, we see Salamance picking up a lead against Gator. Boston attempts to catch a Hydro Cannon onto Tentacruel unsuccessfully. Our Tentacruel save switch is met by Venusaur. Boston, being the ever degenerate that he is, I'm just kidding buddy, fires off the acid spray, forcing a 2-stage debuff on this Venusaur's defense. Today's team is a standard ABB team. Well, let me correct myself. It's by no means standard, as you probably won't see anyone other than xboston running this extreme level of spice, but it's still going to function as an ABB team. We are double weak to ground in the back, so in all neutral leads we are going to switch out into one of our B types, looking to bait out that ground type, allowing the second B type to sweep the back line. Salamance, who shares the same typing as Dragonite, is part flying, meaning it's a very good ground type counter. Boston switches out into the second B type, tanks the first Hydro Cannon, shields the second and commits to a very nice poison jab farm down. The opponent sends back out Venusaur. Venusaur also gets farmed down, and out comes Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz going to be greeted with the Sludge Bomb to the face. Sludge Bomb doesn't do all that much damage. Nothing really does too much damage to Mandibuzz because this thing is so annoyingly bulky. This heavily XL Grimer says, put some respect on my name, Jamie Finn. The second Sludge Bomb and the residual poison jabs get the opponent incredibly low. Boston then pivots out into Salamance, tanks the aerial ace, Dragon Tail farms down, and we're off to a 1-0 start. In the next battle, we see yet another Gator because people really have no imagination. I was just thinking to myself there, that was a little bit mean. Gator, a pretty cool pick, but out comes Mandibuzz. So I don't take that comment back whatsoever. This opponent, an absolute basic bitch meta abuser. Boston over farms, looking to fake a potential blizzard. The opponent redeems himself somewhat, showing huge cojones, calling the bait, but undeterred, Boston fires off the Scold. Scold forces the Protect Shield. Tentacruel not in danger of getting knocked out. Mandibuzz with a pretty pathetic attack stat. The opponent fires off the aerial ace. Boston then looks to catch back onto Salamance. This time the opponent fires off the harder in Dark Pulse, picking up the knockout. Boston now sends out Grimer, looking to get ahead on energy. The opponent really should pivot out as they're just giving us free farm. Grimer with 2 Protect Shields, 2 hide beyond, but unwilling to shield an aerial ace as Mandibuzz hits like a wet noodle. Boston has obtained himself a 2-to-1 shield advantage and has residual energy good to go. Out comes Clodsire. Clodsire might be a ground type, but it is using Poison Sting, which is going to be resisted. Boston tries his luck, making a catch back onto Tentacruel. The opponent see it coming in, but still full send an Earthquake. Why, I have no idea. Perhaps they're on Sludge Bomb as a second move. Back out comes Grimer. The next crunch forces the opponent's final protection. We get the defense drop. The opponent makes a very nice catch, or at least so they'd think, back onto Gator, but Gator gets knocked out by the crunch. Boston still with 2 Protect Shields, 2 hide behind, essentially in an unlosable position now, especially as we correctly shield up the Earthquake. Boston fires off the next crunch, which unfortunately won't be lethal, but this game is already signed, sealed and delivered. Boston can just shield up whatever the opponent throws, commit to the resisted poison jab farm down, and we take that game. Ironically, the team of Gator, Clodsire and Mandibuzz was something I was hunting the other day, and in 25 battles I managed to see it 0 times. In the next battle we see the ground type in the lead, very much where Boston wants to see it. The opponent opts to stay in, which is fantastic for us, and what's even better is the opponent plays the CMP tie. They do not win. Shout out to the GOAT, Home Size Henry, for that quote. Boston shields, respecting a potential rock slide, and the opponent goes for a very cheeky masturbating session, forcing a Protect Shield, which means they are going to be able to reach the rock slide. Boston more than happy to 2-shield his Salamance. Out comes Gator. Boston looking to force that Protect Shield back, which we do, and we see the pivot into Tentacruel. I'm yet to see a Crunch Gator this season, so we should resist whatever the opponent throws. Wow. You couldn't make it up. I talked that one into existence. The opponent does have the Crunch, but Tentacruel able to withstand the damage, fire off the Acid Spray, look for that Poison Jab farm down, but Gator hangs on, reaches the departing Hydro Cannon, securing the knockout. Boston sends out Grimer, the opponent not wanting to give us any free farm, send out Superior, and that is going to be check and mate. The opponent fires off the Frenzy Plant, which is resisted. Boston going to return fire with the Crunch. Crunch won't quite be lethal, but Boston snipes with one Dragon Tail. Salamance says line them up, down goes Gator, down goes Marowak, and we take that game. Heading into the next battle, we lead Shadow Salamance into Miltank. This thing does have access to Thunderbolt. It's kind of a toss-up. Do you want Thunderbolt or do you want Ice Beam? Boston farms up. We see the pivot into Grimer. Boston has been utilising Tentacruel as the save switch, but it looks like we're going to send out Grimer because Boston had a sneaky feeling the opponent did have Thunderbolt, which they threw. Boston fires off the Crunch, the opponent invests that Protect Shield, then send out Slowbro Trainer. Uh-oh. They look for that confusion farm down. Grimer like, nah, it's not happening. Slowbro makes a very brief cameo appearance before getting knocked out with the departing Crunch. Boston now sends out Tentacruel. We already know this thing's got Thunderbolt, so I definitely agree. We're respecting the damage, which Boston does. The opponent unable to reach any further charge moves. Out comes Clefable. Oh boy. The opponent really should top left, but if the opponent wants that work, Tentacruel certainly going to give it to him. Boston forces the Protect Shield with the Acid Spray, goes for the wham, bam, combo play, pivots out into Salamance. Salamance is a Clefable counter confirmed. You heard it here first, and we take that game. In the next battle, we see Clodsire in the lead. It's nice to catch the ground type in the lead, although this is a ground type our back two Pokemon don't particularly fear. It's more their Mud Slap users that they really want to avoid. Boston shields up the Stone Edge, throws 3 Dragon Tails and the Fly for optimal fast move timing. The opponent shows no respect, get knocked out. Clodsire might be thick, but evidently not thick enough. The opponent sends out Dunsparce. We're going to bank the Fly for the road, send out Tentacruel. Tentacruel able to absorb the super effective Drill Run, and once again Boston, being the ever degenerate, going straight for the Acid Spray. The opponent invests a really poor Protect Shield in my humble opinion. Boston threw the Acid Spray after only 7 Poison Jabs. This is why it's really important to learn them quick move counts. It takes 8 to the Scald, so the opponent really didn't need to shield. Boston sent out Grimer looking for the Poison Jab farm, and the opponent pivoted out into Gator. Boston fires off the Fly, forcing the opponent's final protection. They are able to get a massive Shadow Claw farm down, and we get denied. I really hope that doesn't cost us this battle. Grimer able to survive the Hydro Cannon. Despite this being Shadow on Shadow Crime, the win con from here is going to be Poison Jab farm all the way down, leave with a charge move, which we get perfectly, and Dunsparce will be getting knocked out by the Sludge Bomb. Very, very nicely done. GG's. Heading into the next battle. Holy cow, these are straight battles. They are not edited. Well, they are edited. I've sped them up and cut out the queue times, but I mean, this is literally what Boston saw. Gator, Gator, and yet more Gator. Would you look at that? A Gator lead with a Clodsire save switch. My god, this season is less than a week old. We've had so many move updates and everyone is running the same boring shit. Which makes it even more satisfying that Boston is putting it to the sword. Speaking of which, Boston makes a savage Sludge Bomb catch onto Grimer. The opponent then doesn't even build up to an Earthquake, so Boston has a very easy no-shield decision. The opponent fires off the Sludge Bomb, then send out Gator, but this isn't a good matchup for Gator as our Poison Jabs are hitting the neutral and the non-stab Shadow Claws are resisted. I am quite surprised to see Boston shield this Grimer at such low health. We're going to let him cook. Boston then pivots out, making very good use of the 50-second switch timer, sending back out Salamance. Salamance fires off the Fly, removing Clodsire from the field of play, and out comes Ariados. The opponent hoping Ariados with a Protect Shield will be enough to win this game. Is it going to be able to? Perhaps. We're soon about to find out. Boston sends out Tentacruel. We have no real fast move pressure into this Spider as Poison does resist Poison, although it doesn't really look like it as these Poison Jabs are starting to add up. Of all the times I was expecting us to Acid Spray, Boston actually fires off the Scald. He attempts the Wham Bam combo play but loses CMP. This pesky little Spider going to be vamping up his attack once again. with the Trailblaze, but they're rapidly running out of HP. The opponent recognises they're going to be unable to reach a further charge move, and they concede the match. Yikes, a Bomber Snow. No, they're on Leafage. Is that Leafage? I'm pretty sure it's Leafage. It's not Razor Leaf. That was actually a really good matchup for us. But I would have done exactly the same as Boston. Crap my pants and instantly pivot into one of our poison types. What the heck just happened there? The opponent sent out Malamar, which by no means had a good matchup. But the opponent definitely had a superpower. They didn't throw it. Why? I have no idea. Wow. I'm guessing the opponent misclicked. They meant to come into Clodsire, come into Malamar, then farmed up a boatload of energy and threw nothing. We send out Salamance. Boston makes a savage, what should be a weatherable catch, onto Tentacruel. Boston, you naughty, naughty boy. Boston able to get the full poison jab farm down. The opponent like, fuck this game. I'm in shambles, and they are going to concede the match with Boston picking up that 5-0. In the next battle, we see another Marowak in the lead. The last one did bait us, so I'll be interested to see if Boston's going to look to call the bait. Boston like, nah, I'm going to respect the damage, and good job that I'm not playing, as I would have just got one shot. No shot. Do we land the Draco? Draco! Boo! Who shields Toxapex? Come on. My god, this commentary today is absolutely shambolic from start to finish. And I wouldn't be surprised if everyone has stopped listening at this point. But I'm having fun, and I guess that's the main thing. Why else would you make content if you don't enjoy what you do? Boston sends out Grimer to meet this toxic nipple. We shield up a Brine, return fire with a Crunch. Crunch lands for decent damage. Boston perhaps can farm down, but actually chickens out, opting for the safe play of throwing the next Crunch. Crunch does secure the knockout. The opponent sends out a Azumarill. Boston able to reach the Sludge Bomb, and I imagine this is going to end in yet another top left when we show him Dr. Squidworth. To be honest, can you blame me while my commentary is in shambles? Why would you not just send out Marowak, Mud Slap farm down Grimer, rather than send out Azumarill and take super effective damage? The opponent then pivots back out into Marowak. We re-enter with Salamance, and yet another game ends in a top left in the next battle. We see Clodsire in the lead. The opponent tries to catch a fly onto Azumarill, but Boston like, not today, trainer. And we send out Squidworth. Squidworth so dominant in this matchup. We resist absolutely everything. I say everything like Azumarill has a whole box of tricks. It has all of 3 charge moves, Ice Beam, Play Rough, and Hydro Pump. And due to our water poison type in, all 3 are resisted. Boston leaves himself incredibly low, but with a whole heap of energy. Back out comes Clodsire, and they're not going to appreciate this drink. Scold forces the Protect Shield. Boston looking to reach the next Scold, but the opponent wisely dump energy. Boston actually opting to shield Tentacruel at low health, just looking to get off the next Scold. I don't dislike that play, to be honest. It'll either force the final shield or do big damage. The opponent give up that final Protect Shield. Boston again, trying to serve up yet another Big Mac and Fries combination. Fires off the fly, which gets the opponent low, and out comes Mandibuzz. Is this the Draco moment? No, I thought we were going to shield and Draco. Unfortunately, Boston didn't opt for that play, but were able to survive the damage, reach one further fly, which still does big damage, but not quite as impressive as a Draco. In hindsight, shielding just to get off a Draco would be a bit silly, as we've only got 1 Protect Shield, 2 hide behind. Well, actually, we've got 2, as we use Tentacruel as the 3rd shield. Boston, you absolute savage. And here's the reason that shielding just to get over Draco would be silly, as of course we need to save the Protect Shield for the Earthquake, which Boston did, and were able to take that game. In the next battle, we see yet another Mandibuzz. Honestly, how come when I was trying to hunt Mandibuzz, Clodsire and Gator, I hardly saw any, and that is literally all Boston's seeing. Boston builds up some energy, attempts to catch the Dark Pulse or Foul Play onto Grimer, but of course, using Shadow Salamance, the opponent thought this is an easy bait opportunity, actually through the Aerial Ace, but Grimer undeterred, able to tank 2 and return fire with a Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb does land, but unfortunately isn't enough to knock out, but does leave him in a very nice farm down range. Boston actually opting to shield and take the farm on Grimer. The opponent then sends out Jellicent. Boston able to reach the 1st Crunch. We do resist Hexes, we might even reach a 2nd. Come on, Grimer. You're level 50, bro. Reach the next Crunch. Oh, 700,000 Stardust, and you get resisted Hex farm down. Boston sends out Salamance. I've got no idea what the opponent's farming up to. We land the fly. I think we should just shield it, especially if it's a Shadow Ball. The opponent will be unable to reach another one. We then see the Simul swap Clefable into Tentacruel, and that is another game that ends in a very quick top left. My god, these battles are chaotic. In the next battle, another Clodsire. Holy. We've seen this one play out numerous times. I imagine Boston is going to shield. We're then going to throw 3 Dragon Tails and look to fire off the fly. This fly will knock out or force our shield back. Let's see if the opponent looks to make a play at winning lead. They do not. The opponent then sends out Azumarill, which we've got 2 very good answers for. The opponent pivots out into Gator, and this game is already over. xboston is clearly a genius, as everyone he's playing is using top meta, and his team is just dominating it. The opponent unwilling to shield the Acid Spray. They are going to get up the departing Hydro Cannon, but Boston just needs to save his final Protect Shield for Grimer, and we should be good to go. We actually send out Salamance. Salamance going to be able to outpace Azumarill to the fly. I actually like that play of Boston banking the fly, knowing he's going to win CMP. Grimer will be able to tank any one move. The opponent go for the play rough, which hits for neutral. Boston just going to go straight crunch. The opponent pretty much forced to shield everything. The opponent shields the crunch. Unfortunately, we don't get the defense drop, but Boston able to reach the next crunch. If the opponent shields this, they're just going to get knocked out with a fly. The opponent does invest that final protection. They're able to bubble farm down, but if they think they're winning CMP against Salamance, they must be mad. The opponent didn't even throw a charge move. We fire off the fly and emerge victorious. GG's, and thanks for playing. In the next battle, we see Dunsparce in the lead. A very tricky Pokemon, as it has the ability to hit the entirety of our team for super effective. We see the pivot into Grimer. Grimer not going to appreciate the drill run. Ouch. Grimer just about hangs on, looks to return fire with the crunch, but the opponent actually pivots out into Ariados. Ariados able to absorb the crunch. The opponent knows there's no point in shielding this spider, as we completely wall him in theory with Salamance, although Salamance is insanely glassy. Lunge would be the way to go here, as it's only single resisted, whereas the Trailblaze would be double resisted, as both flying and dragon resist grass. Clearly this opponent hasn't heard of the move update, as they're still running cross poison, although in fairness I think that moveset would probably catch quite a lot of trainers off guard. Oh man, I think this is where the win streak is going to come to an end. The opponent sends back out Dunsparce. I think we kind of have to Acid Spray and pray the opponent shields. Boston going for that Hail Mary, fires off the Scald. Boo, which goes shielded. Boston can shield this move up, but this game's over. I'll wink on. Is the opponent lagging out or having a heart attack? The opponent actually show their third, which is superior, which is normally a good matchup for Tentacruel, but not when we're chipped and have no Protect Shield to hide behind. We found ourselves in Frenzy Plant range, and unfortunately, all good things must come to an end, and the win streak dies at 11 games. GG's to that opponent. In the next battle, we find ourselves a very, very problematic Pokemon, but who the hell runs Skarmory in this season? It is so slow to charge moves, taking 20 turns to the first one, which is ridiculous. As if a Skarmory lead wasn't bad enough, the opponent running ABA Steel with Galarian Stunfisk, another Pokemon that has been heavily nerfed. Callum on Toast is the issue, buddy. I know you like to run nerf Pokemon, just taking the piss, and clearly you are the algorithm confirmed. What on earth does this team do against the Gator that every other trainer except xboston is running? Boston goes for the show and go, looks to catch an Earthquake onto Salamance again. What a catch. My joy is very short-lived, as out comes Azumarill. Oh man, this looks like RPS for the loss. Boston fires off the fly on the CMP. Okay, this could be playable. This Azumarill is switch lock. Boston just needs to poison jab farm all the way down and start unleashing some skulls at Skarmory, and just be careful, making sure the opponent doesn't make a catch. Of course, we've got no need to shield this, and the Steel Wings aren't going to be applying very much fast move pressure. Boston goes straight for the Scald. The opponent sends out Stunfisk. I think we had to try and poison jab farm it down. Boston going for the Acid Spray here. If the opponent no shields this, which they do, the game is over. And unfortunately, losses are like London buses. We don't take one or see one for ages, then we get two consecutively. In the next battle, we see Shadow Machamp in the lead. The opponent safe switches into Malamar. Boston builds up some energy and then sends out Shadow Alolan Grimer. The opponent can hit us for neutral with the superpower. They actually go for the foul play, which probably means Boston's going to be forced to shield this superpower, as we are now in superpower range. The opponent again throw the foul play, which is a bit of a strange decision as they won't be reaching another move. It's going to be very tough for Machamp to re-enter the battlefield. We've got so much energy. The opponent opts to send out Umbreon of the Sky, aka Mandibuzz. Mandibar's going to be operating as the damage sponge. Boston doesn't even commit to the next sludge bomb. The opponent tanks the crunch, which doesn't do much whatsoever. The opponent banks their energy, then send out Machamp looking for the snipe, but Grimer still not done. Gonna reach the departing crunch. Crunch forces the protect shield. The opponent does get the full karate chop farm down. Back out comes Salamance. Boston tries his luck catching the Stone Edge onto Tentacruel unsuccessfully. Of course, Tentacruel being part poison, Stone Edge is the way to go, so the opponent does throw the Stone Edge before getting Poison Jab farm down. Back out comes Mandibar's. Mandibar's going to get rudely sprayed in the face, and the opponent is rapidly running out of HP. Boston says, Tentacruel, you've done your job. The opponent fires off the aerial ace, securing the knockout. Back out comes Salamance. We're only one Dragon Tail off the fly. Boston hits no bubbles. Mandibar's might think it's thick, but of course, it's still going to get the knockout. GG's, and thanks for playing. In the next battle, we see an insane flex, a shiny Shadow Marowak. The opponent safe switches into a Azumarill, we show him Tentacruel, and that is probably the quickest battle I've ever seen as the opponent runs for the heals and concedes the match. In the next battle, normal service has resumed with a Gator lead. We see the safe switch into Tentacruel, baiting out Dunsparce, which is very, very nice. We've already seen Grimer does not appreciate tanking a drill run whatsoever. Boston able to land the Scald, which gets Dunsparce into the red with the residual poison jabs. The opponent fires off the drill run. Tentacruel able to withstand the damage. Return fire with the acid spray. Acid spray goes unshielded, isn't quite lethal, but leaves him in perfect farm down range. Rock Slide secures the knockout. I've got no idea why the opponent threw the Rock Slide. I guess it doesn't really matter, as either move would knock out. We then see the pivot into Grimer. The opponent continues to stay in. Boston, shield buddy, no! As the opponent staying in a really poor matchup, that suggests to me that the opponent doesn't like our poison type. The opponent indeed doesn't like our poison type, but outcome superior. Why does the opponent not shield? Are we just playing there? We're just going to save shields for next season game. The opponent finally invests to protect shield, but it's clearly far too little too late. Boston finally decides to use a protect shield of his own, shielding up the aerial ace. We're able to Dragon Tail farm down superior. We're going to shield up the Hydro Cannon, Dragon Tail farm down Gator, and emerge victorious. GG's. Heading into the final battle of today's video, we see a very familiar lead. I think it's interesting that not a single Clodsire has shielded the fly. Boston always shields the first move, throws 3 Dragon Tails and the fly, and as I say that, I bet this opponent shields, because I seem to make all the wrong calls. Does the opponent respect the damage? Nope, yet another Clodsire gets vanquished, back to its Pokeball. The opponent sends out Gator, we see the pivot into Tentacruel and the opponent staying in. So I imagine this game is over. Boston fires off the Scald. Scald goes unshielded. Out comes Low Ticks. I think it's called Low Kicks actually, not Low Ticks, but regardless, Boston gonna rudely spray it in the face, and we're just gonna be able to fast move beat this thing down. The opponent gonna be looking to vamp up their attack. The opponent fires off the Trailblaze, but luckily for us, we've got something that is going to resist the sucker punches in the form of our Grimer. Boston tries his luck making a catch for no reason whatsoever. The catch is unsuccessful, but the result is going to end in the same. Boston poison jab farms down, and we take that game. And that is going to wrap things up. But without a doubt, the most chaotic shoutcast I've ever done on the channel. That was a lot of fun, Boston. He was able to go on an 11-game win streak, 18-2 overall, with a very unique, very spicy, destructive triple shadow team. Boston, keep up the good work, buddy. So enjoying the content, smash that like button if you're new. Consider subscribing if you'd like your battles featured on my channel. A link to our battle submission form is down below. And as always, a huge thank you to everyone for watching. And I'll see you all in the next one.